Is it just me, or is it actually true? Is Raw Racing actually dying? Let's look at the facts. You're watching Raw Arthur, and without further ado, let's get right into, are Roblox racing games dying? It certainly feels like it. If you just look at the numbers, they are nothing like what they were back in 2020 and 21. My explanation for this is that people are quite busy. You see, back in 2020 and early 21, we were still recovering from the biggest pandemic we have seen in decades. Obviously, we view it as more of a vacation from school now, but back then, I'm sure you can all remember, we were forced to stay at home. Thus, more and more people tried Roblox since it was free and popular. If you were an F1 fan, you were at some point going to search for F1 games. And that's what happened. In the span of 2020 and 21 alone, Ion Formula skyrocketed, hitting almost 1,000 concurrent players at its very peak days. Quickly over time, the game got millions of visits under its belt until the slow and painful decline to now hitting barely 200 concurrent players at a weekend. Another game, more specifically Wesley 1041's Formula Roblox, has declined from once hitting 80 to 100 players a day to now not even reaching 30 on weekends. I guess the decline is kind of based on the fact that the game has had practically no updates for the past year. Another game that died is RFA. It was basically hitting 100 players daily and now is struggling to hit 20 on weekends. I have got a video specifically explaining what happened to them, and you can watch it by clicking the card on the top right of your screen. Formula Racing was hitting 20 players back in the day, but it's now down to 2 to 5 players daily. But I guess that can also be justified by the lack of updates. You might have noticed so far that I haven't mentioned Project Apex. The reason? Project Apex has not had that big of a decline. They didn't really experience the same success that Ion Formula did back in 2021, but they have been as steady as a game can be. I have never really seen them drop below 200 in 2023, and even if they did, it would have been most likely due to game-breaking bugs. Lastly, a major Raw racing game, Project Trackday. It's seemingly doing well, hitting 60 to 90 players a day. Honestly, it's a bit surprising considering the lack of updates, but I'd say the content library they already have in-game is quite huge. Also, it's the only big non-F1 game in Raw racing. Anyways, let's visualize the numbers. So back in 2021, Ion Formula at its very peak had almost 1,000 players daily. Other games like RFA, Formula Roblox, Project Trackday, and Formula Racing combined also made for 500 concurrent players at least. So let's say approximately 1.5k playing Raw racing games at any one time. Right now, taking in consideration all of the games plus Project Apex since it released at the very beginning of 2022, in total we have around 600 players playing Raw racing games concurrently. The count is basically less than half of what it was back in the beginning of 2021. Now that we know the numbers at play, let's see all the reasons as to why a decline this massive took place. First, I'd give the biggest blame to Roblox itself. The Roblox engine is not yet strong enough to simulate collisions, and so every Roblox racing game has to be made with no collisions enabled. That takes away the fun of going side by side, which is a big part in the term racing itself. Another Roblox issue is the fact that developers are not able to access external hardware, so any kind of force feedback for steering wheels is pretty much impossible to simulate. If you want to see what it feels like to play a Roblox game with a steering wheel, check FXAlan's video where he does just that. Secondly, people are no longer forced to stay at home. Schooling is not online anymore, and so trying to balance school with friendships and family can be a bit hard if you sit at home playing games. Similarly, people grew up. Most of us who started back in 2019 either moved on or have no time to play, either again because of school or friends or maybe even work for some of us. Lastly, half of the games are not realistic enough, graphic and handling wise. Yes, Project Apex is striving towards the goal of becoming the most realistic racing experience on Roblox by completely redoing their circuits, and by the way, I have a video on that which you can watch again by clicking the card on the top right of your screen. But Project Apex, and maybe Project Trackday excluded, the rest are just arcadey and not very realistic looking. All of that combined with the fact that Roblox as a platform has a reputation of being for kids has made row racing slowly decline to the lowest numbers it's seen since back when it first started. If you ask me, we won't stay here for long. After some point, row racing will explode again since the Roblox platform itself is growing day by day, becoming more popular than Steam's most played games. As the platform grows and the content creators like me, Fexal and TheGFORCE, Zach's Gaming Labs, who also made a video about row racing which I'll have linked in the description below, keep pumping out top quality content, it's only a matter of time until row racing finds its magic again. And when it does, you better be prepared because it will only be the beginning of row racing.